Okay, so here's the second example for you with the quadratic formula. And here's our formula right up here, so we'll just kind of refer to that as we go through here. And remember, first thing we want to do is we want to identify our A, our B, and our C value. So in this case, our A value would be 1, our B value would be 2, and our C value, make sure you're careful here, it does make a difference, it needs to be -7 since this is a negative term. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and start plugging it in. So we know that our solutions, or our x-intercepts, will be at the opposite of B plus or minus, and remember this just essentially says that there could be two solutions, right? There could be two equations at the end that would give us an x-intercept. B squared, which in this case would be 4. If you guys are okay, I'm just going to write that as 4, but if you wanted to write it as 2 squared, could. Minus 4 times A times C. And that's going to all be over 2A, which in this case would be 2 multiplied by 1. Okay. All right, and then from there, we're going to go ahead and start following our order of operations. I already took care of the squared, so exponents are done. Remember, square root is considered an exponent, right? So we still need to make sure we complete everything inside of here before we do anything else with this equation. All right, so we're going to kind of go to our multiplication next, inside of the square root. Nothing else is going to change except for the stuff in here. So this would be 4 subtract 4 times 1 times -7. So this would be 4 right here. This would be 4. And then 4 times -7 would be -28. All right. So this is 4 subtract a -28. You know, one thing to think of, you know, one way you can think about it is like that, right? This would be a -28 and we're subtracting a negative. Okay, and if you guys are okay with it, I'm just going to actually just use my eraser. When we subtract a negative, it's, remember the add opposite property, that's essentially just saying it's addition. Okay, so you can see those negatives can get a little bit tricky there in this one. So that's going to all be over 2, because 2 multiplied by 1 is just going to be 2. Okay, we're still have some stuff in the parentheses here, so I'm going to just write it out. Square root of 32 divided by 2. Okay, so if you pause the video and you tried this on your own, you might have gone a little bit further than you needed to. For this one, you guys remember, as soon as I take the square root of a number that's not a perfect square, right? Remember, like 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Those are all perfect squares, right? 32 is not a perfect square. It's somewhere in between 5 and 6, right? If we took the square root. As soon as you do that, what happens to this number? It becomes irrational. It becomes an approximation. You're not going to have the exact x-intercept. So actually, these ones are even a little easier than the last one we did, because really you're done. You don't have to go any further. Because again, as soon as you take the square root of this, it's going to become a irrational number, not an exact. So I'm okay, and you guys will notice on the practices too, you'll see it a few times, that when you get to this part, if you have this in here that's not a perfect square, you can be done. All right, your solutions are exact in this way, and you don't have to go any further. Okay, so if you felt like you wanted to see another example from the last one, maybe go back and watch that last video and just kind of run through that, and you can try it on your own. Give the practices a try, and actually tomorrow's video is part 2, so it's going to be more quadratic formula. So we're going to do some more examples. Some will look like this one. Some will look like, you know, the first one that we did on the practice before. So we'll get some more practice on it. All right, thanks guys.